home and I work an 8-hour shift. Last shift, I had 4.
And so hopefully it should go pretty smoothly. The gist of it is that you roll 1d20, and then if your stat, like say you're swinging a sword at somebody and using strength, right? If your stat is higher than 12, then you use your stat instead of the die roll. There will be group coins that I will be keeping track of. Everything got fudged up. Just a sec. So on the bottom of my display, there should be a number that shows you how many group coins you have. And I believe, well, shoot, let me pull that up. Basically, you get the coins by getting high rolls.
Sounds good to me.
And I know. I am blanking on which rolls get how many coins, so I'm gonna pull that up and see if I can. Okay, so if the D20 roll is between 11 and 16, the group gets 1 coin. If it is between 17 and 19, the group gets 2 coins. And if it's a 20, the group gets 3 coins. And you all have access to the group pool. So I guess I sent everybody a brief description of the home base that you guys are going to be operating out of. Does anybody want to, what do you remember about that? And I'll fill in the holes from your description.
Basically, it's a safe place for people who cannot return to planes that they've visited once already. And it's off the coast of, I can't remember the main town's name, but a really major trading place.
Mm-hmm. Everwhichway.
Everwhichway. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because that's the name of the system. And there's traders and people, and there's in between 20 and 40 of the afflicted at any time. And every day a boat goes out into the fog, and some mysterious god or power sends them somewhere to go do something.
Yes, and you guys are not told what it is you're being sent to do. You're just being sent out into the multiverse, and often enough, there is something that, some crisis that seems to be unfolding where the people that are sent have skills that seem uniquely suited for said crisis. And so it's assumed that whatever is sending you guys out is doing so with a degree of intelligence and will, but it's not like it writes out, what your mission is. So kind of a cross between Sliders and Quantum Leap.
Oh God.
And also there's no guarantee, while in theory you are being sent to these places to do good or have some sort of impact on whatever crisis is unfolding, um, there is no objective good, so to speak. Um, so, um, like, any given mission does not have a predetermined, this is the good ending. It's basically a sandbox once you guys get into it. And then after a certain amount of time, whether it's because your character dies or because the mission reaches its conclusion, or if we run out of time and you guys just go to sleep, you get pulled back to Haven. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yep.
So we actually had fewer technical difficulties than I was anticipating. So, so we're getting started pretty much on track, which surprises me. I'm going to ask you guys, in Logan's recap, they mentioned that there's about 20 to 40 of the afflicted in Haven at any given point. And most of the people, like, once you go to Haven, you're there for a little while. People rarely go there and then bounce. So as a group, you guys probably have, at the very least, met each other in passing, even if you don't know each other terribly well. You're part of a small group, and a small group that's in a confined geographic location. There's an inn that serves food to the afflicted. There are little hangouts around town that are specifically geared towards the afflicted. Basically, the small town is subsidized by the wealthy families of Everwhichway. And so this entire town, like at least half the town revolves around the afflicted. And the town has maybe like 150 people in it at most. So basically, the main trade of this place is sending the afflicted off into the mists and then feeding them and giving them shelter when they get back. There are some members of the Everwhichway nobility that have people there that will write down your experiences and will try to find out information about the spheres that you visited. There's also a trade where if you bring back any goodies, they will give you gold in exchange for the goodies. So when I say that there's not an absolute morality in place, like you guys go to this distant demi-plane and they're fighting over a magic sword, and you pocket the magic sword and then go home. On the one hand, you've just completely screwed up that demi-plane's entire existence. On the other hand, you got a cool sword, so
You technically stopped the conflict. Can't fight over a magic sword if the magic sword is gone.
Yes. And that's the other thing. With this being set up as one shots, the other thing that you can use the coins for, you can use the coins to activate your powers. You can also use the coins to improve your rolls. So we're actually going to start out with one coin gives you a +3 to your roll. But the other thing that you can use coins for is if we get to the end of the session and you guys haven't completed the scenario, whatever that looks like, you can spend the coins to say, this happened, and so on. So that if we don't complete the one shot, we can still wrap it up.
And leave threads for the next one shot.
Right. So that's the plan. I'm gonna make some quick notes real quick. Why don't you guys go ahead? I sent you a link to a brief recap of all your characters, but if you guys would want to introduce yourselves to each other and maybe come up with, some ways in which you have encountered each other around Haven.
I don't know. I don't
And
see
go.
that link.
What was that?
Where'd you send that link to?
Facebook.
Oh, yeah. I let me double check. I did not send it to you, so I will do that now.
Cool. But I can go ahead and introduce my character here while we're sitting here. I'm Dalton Burnigan, a distinguished gentleman in his late 30s who wears a gray suit and a Cahill hat, who most of the time when you see him around, he looks either pretty serious, writing in his journal and stuff, and tends to, if you've met him or adventured with him, he has some flexible magic that's centered around gravity and has a little bit of magical sight, and is always very interested in the different planes that you go to, and specifically tends to study and write into his little journal whenever he gets a chance with each plane, and doesn't seem to be excited about the prospect of adventuring, but is very distracted by all the new and interesting things going on.
Okay. Jer, or as most people know him, the Gutter Snipe, is a fairly average height man with an athletic build and very dark tan skin and kind of sandy blonde hair, who is covered head to toe in scars. Um, his clothes are fairly worn. They seem to come from a hotter climate, but they've been patched so many times it's hard to tell where the original starts and the patchwork ends. He actually hasn't been on any expeditions yet, even though he's been here for almost 6 months. Most people seem to think that he's a thief of some sort because even though he hasn't been on any expeditions, he's been paying for drinks and food with little tidbits like um, musket balls that he procures from his pocket, or daggers from far off lands, and that's kind of how he's been getting by. But something's changed recently, and he's finally decided to go out on his first expedition. Typically, he'll talk to people. He'll be amicable and friendly, and even fairly upbeat, but doesn't really talk about his own sphere or where he's come from or the other places he's been. He's adamantly refused the interviewers and things like that, and more often than not refuses to explain where he's gotten the items he's trading in for goods and services.
And one thing that's kind of amusing, the original, like this isn't the Everway system, but it's a system that was loosely inspired by it. The original Everway, the canonical setting, is pretty hippie, like pretty thoroughly hippie. And so it's exactly the kind of setting where like the default of when you show up to Haven They're like, yes, we'll give you food and lodging, and we'll take care of you. And when you're ready, you can go do the thing. But it's okay for you to take some time and get acclimated. We understand.
Nice. That's
Oh,
fun.
go ahead.
No, I just said that's fun.
And that brings us to Jack.
You're muted. Nope.
Nope.
Try again.
Can't hear you. We heard that.
Hello?
Yeah,
Oh, there
perfect.
we go.
Now we got you.
Cool. My character's name is Jack. To summarize his character, and Rom, if you don't mind correcting me if I'm wrong on some of this,
Sure.
he's lived more lives than he can count, and he's died just as many. The issue that he tends to have is the fact that all of his lives and experiences are individualized. So in one life, he was a chef, but in this current life, he doesn't know how to be a chef. In a past life, he may have been an assassin, but right now he's just a pretty lackadaisical guy. Each one of his past lives are trying to take over his body. Try to think of the Avatar, but each one's trying to be like, this is my turn.
What a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
And so Jack is kind of the loner character where anytime there's a player that doesn't have a character that they've made, like, well, Jack has so many past lives that anybody can play him without knowing how anybody else played him.
I like it.
So
That's LOANER.
yeah. Not like, the emo kid, but the
Yeah, no, that's my character on lock.
yes.
He very much makes me think of that movie. Was it Split?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great movie if you haven't seen it.
That was Patricia.
Yes.
Okay. So, assuming that this all goes well, my normal plan would be probably to jump you guys straight, like in media res, into a scenario. Since this is kind of the first go and still kind of getting a feel for the technical side of it, I'm going to start out a little more slowly, and kind of ease us into it. Um, so, Logan, you said that Gutter Snipe has been in Haven for a while, but this is going to be your first mission. How long have each of you, well, except for Jack, because you're not sure.
Yeah, Haven may have been built around Jack.
For all we know. So yeah, Dalton
I
and
was mayor
Gutter,
once.
how long have you guys been in Haven?
4 lifetimes? I started off in
I think that Dalton's been in Haven for about a year now. He's been stuck here. And when they get stuck and cursed like that, do they immediately get sent to Haven or do they have to find Haven?
They have to find Haven.
Okay, so I'd say that he's been stuck for 2 years and has been in Haven for the last 6 months or so, trying to figure out all this crap.
Okay, and one of the unfortunate things that makes the curse even more difficult is that Haven is an exception in that you go off into the mist and you're transported to a different sphere. Generally, when you're sphere walking, you literally travel from one sphere to another. So to get to your final destination, you might go through 4 or 5 different spheres.
Right.
So each time you go through one, suddenly you can't go back to that one. So like the transit routes, you can easily block yourself.
Yeah. Is there some sort of mana imprint on you, or some sort of defining feature that on a magical site level that the people who are stuck have in their auras or on their bodies that would identify them by someone who knew how to look and was looking?
We'll go ahead and say yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, another way in which Everway, the original system, was hippie is that there weren't any dice. So basically, like your stat is this. Well, then you can do it this well. And for things that weren't certain, they had a fortune deck. So, like, if there's supposed to be uncertainty, the GM is supposed to draw a card and interpret it.
There you go.
Flip, you got death.
But yeah, no, there's it kind of shifts as they travel. It kind of mutates. The signature does.
Mm.
And you kind of get the feeling that there's some sort of underlying system to how it mutates, but it's like decoding something, like a cipher where you don't even know what the alphabet is.
If you get Dalton drunk, he will rant about this for just as long as you let them.
Nice.
There's a system, man.
Right? Some
conspiracy.
asshole must have created this. I don't know who or what they are, but they have tasks. This is bullshit. This is completely unnatural. Who wants to
Government,
control
man.
the spheres?
It's the government, man. What government? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. And most of the spheres have open borders, but no, you guys get the closed border system. I'm sorry.
There's a wall.
Oh, no.
Goddamn slave border system is more like it.
Yes. Well, I mean, in theory, like a lot of people that become afflicted, what they do is they get to a sphere that's not too bad, and they just settle in. You know.
This has a beach. I like the beach.
Yeah.
But beaches can be great. They can also be really, really bad.
Oh, gutter snipe. You got experience with bad beaches?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, of course you don't. So the people who end up in Haven are a fraction of the afflicted. Because most just settle down. The ones that go to Haven have some sort of reason for saying, no, I want to go back home, or no, I want to go do the thing.
So, planewalkers are the rule and not the exception, right? Like it's a fairly common thing.
It varies from sphere to sphere. Some spheres, the multiverse is well known. In the canonical setting of Everway, the hub city of Everway, a lot of people that are there are sphere walkers. But there's also a lot of planes where they have no clue that there's a multiverse out there.
Like, for example, on your idea of a roadmap or transit system, those would be like the ones at the very end of a dead end.
Say that again?
Like on your example of a transit system, those would be like the planes on the very end of a dead end road.
Yeah, basically.
There's like one connection to them.
Right.
And you have to be like actively trying to go there or something.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing that gives somebody the potential to be a sphere walker varies. There are magical items that can let you do it. Some people have an innate ability. There are some planes where, like I said, it's very common. There are others where even if you're aware of the multiverse, very few people have the ability to actually traverse it.
Mhm.
So it's up to you guys for your respective home worlds, how common it is there.
I'll have to leave a message to Steven. He wrote his story and I wrote mine, so that's all.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I know. It took him days.
Ah.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing. Oh my god, they were roommates.
I missed something.
Oh, it was a reference to a vine.
Ah, okay. Yes, that would explain why I missed it.
Yeah, been on it.
Yeah, my fiance's talking to her sister. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
She was like right there.
There's a like 95% chance you're going to hear kids in a couple minutes. I just laid them down for bed like before we started, so
Which means that the cascading requests for, like water and
mhm.
I'm hungry.
yeah. Okay.
Hi, hungry. I'm dad.
Oh. Okay. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, start a little bit more slowly. The haven itself, you look back on, you can feel the rocking of the waves of the boat underneath you, and it's God, well, a dinghy is one of those ones that like just has like enough room for people to row and like 5 or 6 people at most.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like that. It's a very plain wooden boat that has like old runes carved into the side that have been weathered to the point that it's hard to read what they were once meant. But this is the boat that the people are often sent out into the bay and into the mists beyond. And then just like the people at the end of the mission, they get transported back to Haven. The boat also returns. So some of you have been on this boat a number of times before. Gutter Snipe, it's your first time. You look back at Haven, and it's a small village. The wooden structures, like the tallest building is 2 stories. There is a level of construction, like it's not too far removed from a more cosmopolitan area, but this place itself just kind of has perpetual feeling of like they haven't really invested in the appearance of it so much. It is a
Form over function, or
yeah,
sorry, function over form.
right. So the bare wood is very rarely covered with anything, and when it is covered with things, that's like graffiti where somebody carved in something. And the air here is almost always damp, like the wind coming off of the ocean just makes the entire place humid. It varies from a warm, almost like a hot humid that like drags at you to a bone chilling cold some nights. And this is one of those places where it is very rare for the sun to peek out from behind the clouds. There's almost always a perpetual mist just off the shore. So the 4 of you find yourselves in this dinghy, or the 3 of you. Sorry.
It's like, are we missing somebody?
Nah.
No, just two of Jack's personalities. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I originally put the cap at 4 players, so that's where I pulled that number from. The 3 of you find yourself in this dinghy. The old sailors that are doing the guiding of the boat. They've got this, like almost like stereotypical grizzled sailor look to them, and they're not really like very talkative. And the boat starts going out into the bay towards the mist. As you get into the mist, it creeps up around you. It starts out thin, but slowly it becomes all encompassing until your senses themselves start to become muted, where one minute you're sitting in the boat and the next minute the sensation of sitting in the boat feels distant, almost like your entire body has this numbness to it. The sounds of the ocean become muffled and slowly disappear. And at some point, you're not sure when, you open your eyes. You hadn't realized that they had been closed, but you are now standing in a land that you've never been in before. And yeah. So what I'm gonna do, if anybody wants to roll for this independently, you can do that. Otherwise, I'm going to make a group perception roll. If your wisdom is higher than this result, then your wisdom rules the day.
I'm good with that result.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm at 8, so 11 works.
Yep.
Okay. So you guys you find yourselves at the edge of a forest. Behind you is dense foliage and a darkness that comes from the trees blocking out the sun. You can hear the scurrying of strange creatures. You're on the crest of a hill looking down, and there is a road that leads into a small fortified village. Beyond that, there are some mountains, but they're a good 2 days walk away. There seems to be a small amount of traffic on the road, but you just see 1 or 2 carts being brought into the village.
What's the climate?
The climate, it's temperate. So where the mist had left you with a chill in your bones, this place is kind of comfortable. The sun is out, and you might guess that by what you think of as as players, Earth, this is kind of like a day on the cusp between summer and fall, where if you do too much, you might get sweaty, but there's if you just stand there, you can enjoy it and bask in it.
With the little light that's coming through the trees, Dalton will pull out his notebook and start making notes on a fresh page. looking around, kind of just like doing little things like dropping a little bit of grass and watching it fall, and then writing in his notebook and like taking a look at the size of the trees and things like that.
Guttersnipe is unbuckling various clasps around his kind of patchwork clothes that cause them not to necessarily fall off, but like be less stacked and kind of drape more. So he's basically delayering himself with all of his clothes still being attached. Basically turns from what was a like a cloak wrapped around him into more like a free flowing cape. He's also checking like the wraps around his arms. There's a couple not fresh looking blood patches, but probably 7 or 8 hours old looking. And on across the knuckles on both of the wraps, he has little bits of metal or glass poking out of the wraps. He kind of checks everything, makes sure there's no holes in his shoes, and starts looking around to see if there's anything obvious that needs to happen.
Okay. Go for a wisdom check on that.
11.
You're not seeing anything obvious. And actually, let's go ahead and Dalton. Let's see. We'll handle you first, and then we'll get to the request for seeing if there's anything that's pressing.
Sure.
So as you look around, you notice that the it feels like a fairly like traditional temperate forest.
Okay.
And so there are squirrels running along the treetops. And generally speaking, there's not a lot about this place that jumps out to you as being really exceptional. It seems fairly standard.
Okay.
But you do notice that deeper into the woods, like it's a little bit darker than it should be.
Okay.
Almost like the light is being it's being blocked more than you would expect just from the tree cover.
Okay.
And you also when you listen closely, there is the vaguest impression of something large, very like it's nowhere near, but there is something further in that is moving and making an uncomfortable amount of noise.
Okay. And so all the normal stuff checks out. The gravity seems very, very much the same. The air quality, the humidity, that kind of stuff all seems like normal for this type of forest. And the tree growth seems to be normal and not affected by different standards of a different plane.
Mhm.
Fine, get to the task already, he'll say to himself, and look up. And the question he's trying to answer from looking up at the trees is to go, okay, something big is coming. Is it so big that is the shadow, the darkness on the trees moving as if something was moving and casting a shadow? Or does it seem like that the overgrowth in the area that gets darker is just too dark? Like the overgrowth may be grown together more than he's used to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And once again, I'm comparing your intelligence score to the difficulty, and you got 14.
Sure.
as near as you can tell from like looking at the movement of the shadows, the shadows themselves are just deeper than they should be. And strangely, you notice that there is a pattern to it, where the shadows, like, it's almost as if the foliage is draining the light. So, like the areas next to leaves and next to green planty matter is just darker.
Oh, well, that's fascinating. And you will see him, right? Like, he'll just start walking off in that direction. And then, and maybe mutter under his breath, oh, well, do you all see that? As he starts to draw what he's seeing.
Yes. And to answer your other question, from that you're not able to, like, it doesn't seem like there's any connection between the distant sounds and the shadows.
Okay.
So Logan, your question was like, is there anything obvious?
Mhm.
And basically, no, there's nothing that really jumps out at you. You have one companion that is apparently heading deeper into the dark forest, and you have a town that looks like a pleasant stroll through temperate pastureland, that is somewhat fortified with a trade route going through it. But there's nothing that screams, this is a crisis.
So you're going to ask if we see that and then just walk away? You really need to be a little more descriptive. I see a lot of things.
What? And he'll turn back towards you with, like, surprised that you're still there. And the plants, I don't know if they're bending the light or if they're absorbing it in a fashion that doesn't make any sense, but if you look at the darkness there, around the plants, it's darker than it should be. And that is incredible for flora. I mean, they're either affecting gravity itself, or they're in some way able to absorb light at a higher degree than they should. But we should definitely take a sample at the very least. That would make a fantastic study.
Is there a giant leaf around that we can use as an umbrella to, like, block out the sun? Survey says.
Most of the leaves that are around are not going to be quite that big. There are like, if you imagine just kind of a temperate forest, like the foliage is a little bit more standard sized.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of trees, a lot of leaves, a lot of bushes, a couple of flowers here and there.
Do the flowers suck up light too, or is it just the leaves from the trees?
It looks like it's mostly just the leaves.
I will attempt to, with my gloved hand, go ahead and take a few samples.
Okay. You're going to be able to collect them. It's weird where when you put a leaf in the center of your palm, like, normally a shadow is cast by where it blocks the light, but there's this almost imperceptible just shadow around it, as opposed to where it just blocks the light.
That's neat.
Man, that would just be. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It's too fascinating for him to do anything other than this. I will go ahead and use my mana sight and study the puzzle. These leaves here. Excitedly hoping that they do actually affect gravity. So
Okay.
that would be a hell of a nifty trait.
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and how many coins do you want to spend on that?
One to start with, and go up if I need.
Okay. So naturally, the intelligence roll for that check gives the group a coin, so it's an even deal. For one coin, as you're looking at it, basically it looks like, you know how plants normally use photosynthesis?
Yes.
Like these trees and these leaves are like one magnitude above that, where they're just like consuming light in a almost literal kind of way.
So there's no reflection of the light. It is only coming in and staying in.
Yes.
Okay. I will. Is there any sort of magical signature from them?
There is a mild magic, and since you turned on monocyte, you get a sense that there is like that same signature is stronger the further into the forest you go.
So that means that the trees away from this forest have less of the magical signature, less, and are drawing less light.
Right. It seems as if whatever is
Okay.
causing this magical effect is towards what seems like the center of the forest.
Interesting. Well,
So we have two choices.
Yeah, we can go to the village or go further in.
So before we decide on that, Gutter Snipe's going to walk up to one of the trees that have these light-consuming leaves and take off his belt knife and stab the tree.
Okay. Like, are you stabbing like forcefully, or is this...
like he was going to carve his name or his initials and a heart into the tree? It's not like he's trying to power through it. He's just
Carving.
testing to see the tree because the leaves are weird. Is the rest of the tree weird?
Watch the tree moves.
Sure. Okay. Okay. What I would say is that, like, you start carving into the tree,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives, it has the texture of a tree. It's not like particularly fortified or anything. By default, Dalton, you're the one that has the best sense of this, but you're not quite able to place it. There is kind of a magical ripple when Gutter Snipe carves. Like there is some sort of metaphysical response.
Okay.
And yeah. Your wisdom is a 10. A 10 isn't quite enough to get all of the information for that, but
Sure.
there's something going on.
Okay. And when I look with the magic set on, it's just at this point it's just the same kind of, oh, there was a ripple and now the ripple's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And kind of like the magical signature is all low level enough that like the only reason it's really tangible at all is that there's just so many leaves that their auras kind of overlap.
Yeah.
And so what if there's a breeze, like there's a ripple in the magical auras.
Sure.
And so whatever ripple gutter snipe caused gets lost and all of that.
Makes sense. I'll go ahead and put some of the leaves I've picked up into unused pages of the journal, shut the journal and put it back and zip it up, or I guess wouldn't be zip up for that level of technology, it'd be more tie up.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, gents, I'm ready to move on.
So to the town where we meet more people and possibly get more information, or into the woods where we could find the source of this power.
That's a good question. Town is where I have my vote. We can always come back.
Town.
Sure, why not? I'd rather get this over, but we can go on a detour.
What if the force is the detour?
Okay, so the vote is for the town.
Yeah.
Okay. I described before that it is kind of either a warm autumn day or a cool summer day. It's right in that cusp. And the village is maybe a 4-hour walk from where you guys are. You started at the top of a hill, and it is like looking out, so you could see a fair distance away. Are there any particular precautions that you guys take? What kind of approach do you take? The village has one road that goes in and out, and it looks like there's a little bit of farmland around that's been cultivated, but it primarily looks like it's a resting point on that road.
Okay.
Zero precautions for me. Just take a nice stroll to a country town.
Gutter Snipe is going to walk about 4 feet behind him in his footsteps. Like layering his footsteps.
Okay. And Jack.
He's just gonna run for it.
Oh.
You're like, all right, there's a place, there's people, there has to be food. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
That man is going to get himself killed again.
This is the goal.
He actually has a special ability for being killed. It's okay. Your Constitution score of 8 is a little bit better than the die roll. How much are you running? Like, are you going just all in on this run, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
All in. It's like, all right, the sooner I can get there, the sooner I can sit down, the sooner I can eat.
Okay, so Gunner Snipe and Dalton, you see your companion, who, if you've been around long enough, you know that Jack has a lot of weird personality things that happen. Jack is just booking it.
I immediately look behind me. What?
It's a lovely day.
Huh. All right, keep walking.
Okay, is Gunner
Don't
Snipe
worry, we'll catch him in like an hour.
It's fine.
Okay, so Gunner Snipe is still following in Dalton's footsteps cautiously.
Yes. Yeah, like hand is like he has not put his belt knife back on his belt.
Okay. All right. So Jack. Like I said, there's one road that goes in and out of the village, and it kind of has those like wooden walls built around it. And really, like calling it a village is a bit of a stretch. There's maybe like 5 or 6 buildings in it, like literally one road, right?
Okay.
So you're gonna get there first. What? Like you're the only one running, so and you're gonna be like based on the roll, unless you want to add to it, spend coins. Like when you get there, you're gonna be breathing heavy. You push yourself a little too much on this, but you get there first.
Okay.
The I mentioned that there was a little wagon that was being pulled by a horse heading towards the village. And you guys really didn't spend that long in the forest itself. So I'm gonna say that like as you are running, like the person on the wagon looks over and sees you running towards the road and immediately snaps the reins to get the wagon to move as quickly as it can. There is a stranger that is running at the road. Fuck this, we're getting out. How do you respond?
Waving down, they're like, wait, wait. Flailing around like, help. Rolls a 1 to keep going.
Okay. So yeah, you're gonna like what's your desired effect here? You're trying to get the wagon to actually stop.
Yeah, I kind of, I'm realizing, because you said it would take us about 4 hours to get from where we were to the village. I'm like, running for 4 hours, I could probably do it. I was a marathon runner in a past life, but I don't wanna.
Oh, if you're running, it's more like between like it's closer to 2 hours. That's much more doable.
Oh yeah. I'll probably be like, hey, do you have room for us to get a ride? I don't want to like run if I'm running to the road and I'm scaring people there. I don't know. I don't want to see the reaction of me running towards like passing through town and be like, oh look, a guy's running at us. Close the gates.
Open the gates a little.
Yes. Okay.
If we're on a wagon already going there, it's less suspicious in my mind.
All you have to do is convince the person on the wagon that you're not suspicious.
Great. Ask the guy with multiple personalities to be like, convince this person that you're not scary.
Okay, so how do you go about doing this? What's your game plan? Like you wave them down, and they slow down, and like that. Their first instinct was like you almost guessed that they saw you as like almost like a bandit or something like that. And when you start flailing your arms and breathing heavily and slowing down, they switch from this person is dangerous to me into like, oh, this person might need help.
Hey.
So they stop. It is an old man and like their adult child.
Okay.
So maybe like the old man is in his like 60s and the companion is in their 40s.
Okay.
The wagon itself has a couple of barrels in it that are covered with a tarp, but it's not by any means a full shipment.
Okay.
The 40-year-old, she is kind of a burly woman, like almost imposing physically. She speaks up and asks, like, "What's the problem, stranger?"
I'm on my way to town, and me and my two companions, which I ran ahead of, have lost our way, and I was wondering if you could give us a ride to the town, just so that we get to our final destination in peace, because we seem to have lost our way a little bit.
The old man, I'll go ahead and. The old man squints at you, and your companions are walking in the general direction, but they're still, like a ways behind. The old man squints at you, then looks at your companions in the distance, and then, like, it's very easy to guess where you came from. And there is a sudden pivot towards distrust as he gleams. Like, you came from the Darkwoods?
Yes, and during our travels through the Darkwoods, we've one second, sorry. I can't. During our travels through the Darkwoods, we've lost track of our road and our horse and our carriage, because our carriage crashed into a rock. The horse got unleashed. The horse ran away, and we're just wanting to get to town in one piece because of a series of unfortunate events.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
Apparently, you were a huckster in another life.
No kidding. Okay. Yeah, so you can tell that the calculus is going through the old man's head as he's trying to figure out why the hell anybody would take a wagon and a horse through the dark woods. Like, there aren't paths. You should just go around it. The story makes absolutely no sense. But you seem so sincere.
And
That he just
it helps that you're
concludes that
out
you're
of
an
breath.
Well, that might be like, you're speaking like with very labored breaths, and it's hard to tell exactly what you're saying. But your body language just exudes genuine,
Horse, wagon, buggy,
Rock.
bang, crash.
So the burly woman looks to her father, and he nods, and she breaks out a skin of some sort of fermented drink, not terribly alcoholic, and offers it to you. And they also break out some food. And the wagon is at a complete stop, and they offer to let you hop on and wait for your companions to arrive and let you catch your breath while you have the opportunity to eat this food and drink this. I guess it's some kind of wine.
Oh God, I thought they made kombucha.
Oh God. Yeah. I won't say who it was, but somebody else that I know that's familiar with the original Everway described it recently to me as being Star Trek Next Generation episodes, but with the cast of the Village People. So So showing up to a sphere and the drink that they offer you is kombucha would be entirely. Okay, so yeah, your new travel companions, the old man and his daughter, are not going to press you for information. They're going to give you some respite, and a chance to gather yourself. The as you actually let me you're going to, like, while you're sitting there, the impression that you get is that like, you notice that they're armed. The and the old man's sword has some sort of insignia on it, but obviously you don't recognize it, and it's very worn, so it doesn't stand out too much. And then, yeah, there is a slight smell of what you like, probably like horse. The tarp that is over the barrels doesn't smell terribly good. But you're gonna be able to have a pleasant, almost like picnic. And the food is like cheese and crackers, right? To go with the slightly off tasting wine.
Okay.
So unless you want to engage them, they'll wait until the rest of the party arrives.
I'll just say thank you, and I don't want to feel like I'm taking away from their merchandise or their food. So if there any way I can compensate them for their generosity, I would happily oblige.
The old man kind of files that information away. He doesn't have anything immediate that you could do, but the offer is noted.
I'm a strong believer that kindness received should be kindness returned, you know.
Sure. So you guys are, like, you see the wagon has stopped and that Jack has made new friends.
Oh, good for him.
And is now sitting in the back of the wagon, eating cheese and crackers and drinking from a skin of wine.
And they're obviously waiting for us, so I will pick up the pace a little bit. Not trying to sweat here, but definitely pick up the pace a little bit. We'll be walking fast.
Okay. And Gutter Snipe?
He's going to do about the same. He's going to be trying to spot anything he can about the wagon. If there's, like anything he can about information that he could possibly use to either fuel conversation or pry a little bit or put a little bit of pressure on people.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So looking very intentionally at it. I mentioned before that the sword had an insignia on it that was worn. You notice that it's almost like a brand, and when you start looking, like the wagon wheels have this brand in the center of them, and it's been carved into the side of the wagon. And looking at the sword itself, I mentioned that it was worn, but it looks like it was once very high quality.
Okay.
And the other thing, like, you have an eye for blades. You get the sense that it is worn with a degree of proficiency. You have an immediate impression that people, like, it is not just for show. He has killed people with this. And there's something about it that feels weird. Like the insignia almost looks like an abstracted skull.
When Guttersnipe gets close, he'll kind of take a step up on the wagon, and the light patchwork hood that he had to kind of keep the sunlight, what little sunlight was coming through, out, he kind of kicks it back, and like his face is not an exception from the numerous scars. Like it's basically all over his cheeks. Like it seems to avoid a lot of vital areas. Like there's none like above his heart or like across his throat or anything, but like there's pieces missing out of his ear and like over his scalp and things like that. And he just he looks at the old man and the sword. He says, "Too fine a blade to waste on bandits, don't you think? What do you really use it for?"
Dalton just looks at Guttersnipe like he's said something, obviously inappropriate. Rude.
As you ask the old man, like the fine blade, what too good to use on bandits. He looks at it, then looks at you, and says that old blade's dull, and then he pulls out a knife and says, "This is what I use on bandits."
Better choice.
Did we lose one?
And what?
Did we lose one?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, I put the computer down because I had to plug my phone in.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. For a moment there, as the camera was being put down, we almost had a show.
Oh, well,
But yeah, like he pulls out this dagger, and this is a wisdom check.
I think I got it.
Yeah. And that's before I forget. So you can immediately tell that it is a ritualistic dagger. That it's not flimsy and it's not just for show. But it looks like it's been like it's imbued with a kind of ornateness that just screams magic. And the brand that's on it is a modified version of the brand that was on the sword.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 coins, and
Okay.
Guttersnipe's going to kind of stretch his arms out and like put them over the side of the wagon, like he's stretching out, but he's going to obscure his right hand behind the wagon, and he's going to summon as close as he can find a replica to that exact dagger.
Okay. For 2 coins, like you're going to be able to pull out
any weapon that would, any small weapon like short sword or smaller that would have that logo.
Okay, that particular logo, it's probably not something that you're going to find on the Bladed Shore.
Damn.
You'll be able to pull out ritual daggers and some that have a similar look to them, but the specific insignia is probably a little bit too much of a stretch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any sound that happens when it appears, or is it just a silent ability?
There is some sound, but it would be kind of hard to hear over the wagon wheels. It sounds a little wet and crunchy.
Oh, so we're on the road. It's
Yeah.
moving and
Yeah,
stuff. And
it's slow
Okay.
going because
Sure,
if it was just him and his daughter, they'd move at a faster clip because they've known each other long enough that they don't have a whole lot to say.
that
But
makes sense.
since there are new strangers that just
Are-
came out of the Darkwoods,
And are dressed real funny.
the wagon is moving a little bit slower to accommodate conversation.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess I'll settle for a ritualistic dagger that is similar in size and shape.
Okay. Yeah, you'll be able to pull that out. And like it's more worn. Like
Yeah.
the dagger that he pulled out, it looks new, like within the past couple of years. So the one that you pull out, like, has more age to it and has a longer history.
Mm-hmm. And he's not going to do anything immediately with that. In fact, he still kind of has it tucked behind the wagon.
Okay.
But he's just kind of palming it there.
Okay.
I want to ask the old man, where can I get a fancy dagger like that? Due to the fact that I pretty much have nothing on me other than what was on the wagon that we left behind so we could get here.
He okay. So you ask him like where you could get a dagger like that?
Mm-hmm.
He at that point he kind of motions, like pulls the reins to encourage the horses to move or the horse to move at a faster pace. Because that question has told him as much information as he cares for about the party. And as the wagon speeds up with a jolt, he looks back at you and says that a dagger like that has to be earned, and you don't want to earn it.
Duly noted. Apologies for asking.
It says it's all right. I can tell that you folks are strangers here. Yeah. And the wagon heads towards the town. Does anybody else want to jump in on anything before like you've got maybe 30 minutes before the wagon reaches the town or the village.
Dalton will be paying attention to the way that the wagon's constructed. And are they horses that are pulling it?
Yes.
Okay.
They're horses.
And the style that they use for he's really trying to get a good idea of the technology level and the any differences that he spots from the planes that he's used to.
Okay.
So just keeping an eye out for that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Piecing it together.
Okay. So what you're going to be able to pull from it is that you kind of guess that, and it's hard to tell because the wagon's kind of old, but somewhere between medieval and Renaissance.
Okay.
There is a little extra. There's more sophistication than you would expect in a purely medieval culture. But not terribly much more advanced than that.
Okay.
So
like clasps and stuff, but it's all still made out of entirely wood and maybe some interior decorating, but mostly just functional.
Right.
Okay.
and the horses are pretty standard horses.
Okay.
Or the horse. The horse.
The one horse.
Yeah.
The other snipe is going to remain fairly quiet, kind of keep a composed, like relaxed body language, but is going to be watching for any tells from the driver or his daughter.
Okay.
Okay, continue eating.
Is everybody else eating as well?
Yeah, take a nibble.
I'm going to put some in a rucksack.
Okay.
Don't mind me. I'm just storing away for the future.
Well, we've got a long walk ahead of us. I ate when we were on our cart.
Okay. So as you try to kind of read the old man and his daughter, it's hard to really peg them.
Okay.
So did you get much trouble out of the Darkwoods then? I see you've got some pretty interesting flora around here.
Yeah. The Darkwoods, well, we haven't had trouble from the Darkwoods in well over 100 years.
Oh, good.
Um,
Kind of a
and
spooky place.
only if you don't understand it, like most things in this world.
Sure.
And you mentioned the interesting plant life, to which he like the Darkwood is a unique thing. You'll never find anything quite like it.
What makes it so unique? And he will start fishing around in his bag for his little book and open it with the pen.
Mm-hmm. Well, it has that name for a reason. It consumes the light.
Yeah, I noticed he'll pull out one of the leaves that he had stored in the book. It seems as if the leaves themselves deny any reflection of the light, the waves of light as they come in. Do you know if? I'm sorry, I'm an academic. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself here, but has anyone studied the magical nature of these and where the magic comes from for these?
He actually gives you a little bit of a smile, as you say that you're an academic, and he's an old man, and in this kind of scenario, he's missing some teeth.
Mm-hmm.
But an academic, you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love a good academic. Used to deal with the colleges so much more when I was younger. And he actually starts opening up and giving you small details about names of plants and creatures, and starts going on about the movement of the stars.
I would be absolutely fascinated about that and ask him very specific questions about number of celestial bodies nearby and the way that they at the local universities calculate it. And specifically over the course, I will basically suggest that I'm from really far off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on a long walkabout, and I'm trying to study different areas and bring information back for my thesis, and just kind of chat with him about it and get as much plainer information as I can from this person.
Sure. And as like I said, it's about a 40-minute ride into the village. So you're not gonna get a whole lot out of that, but you're gonna be able to jam pack the rest of the ride with as much of this information as you can get.
I will also kind of chime in occasionally, suggesting that there that we were sent here by people, and there are people who know where we are. We're
By
not
the
just
way,
traveling vagabonds. There are people who wanted us to come here and will know if we're not in contact.
only an academic would suggest that 40 minutes of conversation is not enough to get a lot of information.
Yeah. And as you talk to him, like when he said that he used to deal with academics a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you get the feeling that like there's a structure to the way that he talks. He's not really an academic himself,
Sure.
but he's well educated.
Right. I'm sure he sacrificed many an academic in his time.
As like, based on the quality of the ride that he's on, like he's far better educated than you would expect from
Sure.
first glance. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so he just starts rolling off with information. And you kind of get the sense that some of it is perhaps biased or incorrect. There's a couple of contradictions, but they
Mhm.
all seem like the kind of things that wouldn't really jump out to like easy mistakes to make.
Sure.
And so yeah, that fills the rest of the time. When you guys pull up into, unless and Jack, you're still eating?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Going to town. Simple guy right here.
The
Bankrupting these poor people.
the muscle bound daughter like had given you so much food and has some food set out for her, and it just kind of slowly, like as your little dish becomes emptied, a little bit more gets put on, a little bit more gets put on, and hospitality. But you can, I'm almost picturing a moment where like she's adhering too much to hospitality to say anything about it, but she's starting to get a little annoyed at like she's gonna be hungry.
So, in between one of the moments before she could put down food, Guttersnipe kind of stretches his legs out and puts them on the area where Jack was eating.
Oh.
And then kind of like looks around and gives a very slight nod to the daughter.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll be able to nod to her. She gives you a quizzical look, and then puts a little more food just to the side.
Cultural differences.
So yeah. So and that's kind of how the rest of the wagon ride goes. When you guys get to the village, I described previously that it has that kind of wooden fortification around it. Not particularly extensive. The fortification equivalent of a locked screen door, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You get the sense that anybody that really wants to, like anybody with enough force to try to attack the town anyway, could probably get through the fortifications without too much additional work. But it keeps the honest raiders honest. I don't know.
Yeah.
It will slow down attackers, but it probably wouldn't stop them. And probably does as much to keep like coyotes out as anything else. And there are a couple of guards that are at the gate, and the basically like it's not like there are towers that they're in. They're like standing on the outside of the gate, watching and waiting for people to come by. And it's kind of a military uniform. They're dressed like in uniform fashion. And they hail down the old man in the wagon as he approaches, and asks what his business is, and he says that he's just traveling through. They know him well enough. He has places to be and people to see, and they accept that at face value. But he ends the conversation with saying, "You might want to get the constable. We've got some special guests today." And then he whispers something, which
To the
by default, none of you are going to be able to hear.
Do we want to spend gold on this?
Are
yes.
both he and the daughter distracted?
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to clip the ritualistic knife to my belt, but I'm going to drape part of my clothing over the top where that symbol would be.
Okay.
I will totally spend a point to add the +3 to get us there for my wait, is it +3 from wisdom? Hold on, what was that total again? 14? Shit, I would need 2 coins. We're at 11. This might be helpful. Yeah, I'll spend 2 of the coins to add enough to the die roll to get there.
Okay. All right. So that will actually put you your wisdom check at 16, which will be enough to get there. Yeah. And there's not a lot of information here, but the thing that you're going to be able to immediately grasp is that he thinks that you guys escaped from the Darkwoods. And he seems to think that you are going to need to be taken back.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get a free ride back.
Essentially, the whisper is that some of the sacrifices escaped.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
So, and like I said, he's whispering, so he doesn't think that you guys hear. And after he says that, he looks back to you to see if anybody's responding.
I will pretend to be. Actually, I'll just bring the notebook back up and pretend to be writing. And if I can, when he looks away next, I will. I'll write the word. I'll write "bring the sacrifices back to the Darkwood" on the thing, and above that said "he said," and show it to what's the guy next to me, whoever's right next to me out of the 3 of you.
Well, you're all kind of clustered, so it'd be fairly easy to show to both of them.
Sure.
Can you write it in a language that we would know that he doesn't?
Probably not, because I don't know what languages you guys know.
English.
In the default setting is that everybody by more or less speaks what's called the tongue. So there's a shared oral language that is pretty common. But written languages tend to be a lot more idiosyncratic.
So I just show them scratches.
But there is kind of like, you are all travelers between the spheres. There is kind of a like close enough to a common script that's used in Haven and that's used in the major transportation hubs of the multiverse. So you'll be able to write in that, and they'll probably understand it.
Sure.
Bring the snacks to the dank forest. Got it.
I'll start grabbing more.
Grabbing more of their food? Is that
Yeah.
what you mean? Oh God.
Bring the snacks to the dank forest.
So yeah, you'll be able to communicate that information to the rest of the party. How is everybody else responding?
Gutter Snipe is going to keep relaxed, but he is very quickly thinking.
Okay. Oh, and like one other bit of information that I'll throw in there for having overheard. They mention a name, and you're not quite you couldn't quite make out the name for 16, but you that there was like a very specific entity in the forest that he thinks that you were sacrifices to.
Interesting.
I've never been a sacrifice before. Add that
You've
to my
sacrificed yourself, but
Numerous times.
numerous times, but to an actual deity, yeah, that's on the immortal bucket list.
Don't worry, I think you'll get your chance.
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys looked, but one of Jack's powers is literally called Immortal Martyr.
that's what I was referencing.
So, yeah, you guys are on the you know kind of what's going on. By default, the wagon is going to be led in, and it's late enough in the day that this is kind of where they intend to pause for the night. When you look around, it's not emblazoned everywhere, but you get the sense that same brand that was on the ritualistic dagger. Like you see the little bits of it throughout the village, and on the guards. Like they're not proudly wearing it, obviously, but they'll have somebody will have a sheath that happens to have it on it.
Is there a little metal pinion of it emblazoned anywhere?
A little what?
Metal pinion of it, or metal version of it, like on a wall or on a cart or something?
Actually, the most accessible is that it looks like some of the coins are stamped with it.
Okay.
So you don't have a whole lot of opportunities to look at very many coins at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
just keeping that in mind.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, the wagon will be tied up. One of the barrels is going to be taken off the wagon and left for the village. And then the guards, and now that you're on the inside, it looks like most of the people that are in this village are guards.
Ooh.
It looks like this is very intentionally a waypoint through dangerous territory for them to be able to rest and recover. And have a place where they can do somewhat fast responses from. For having about 5 buildings, there's maybe 20 horses. So by default, there is a pavilion that they are going to be. It looks like most of the soldiers have already eaten, but the elderly man and his daughter, and you guys by extension, have been invited to eat some of the remaining food in the pavilion.
Cool.
Yes.
I'll go snack a little and keep my eye out for whoever's in charge.
Okay. And I presume that if you're still maintaining the facade of the academic, that like that's probably the bulk of the conversation that's still going on.
Yeah, and I want to get an idea through that if they have an understanding of that there are other planes out there and that they can be traveled to.
Okay. You try to make references to like obtuse references.
Yeah.
And he's not getting it.
Okay.
He's not picking up what you're putting down.
And I'll just end up explaining it's a theory based on how light travels. Don't even worry about it. It's not important right now.
I'm going to play a game with one of the guards. I'm going to offer them. I'm going to show them my belt knife and be like, want to make a bet? 5 coins versus this knife.
The guard that you're talking to is...
It's still in its sheath. It's not the ritualistic dagger. It's the belt knife. It is still in its sheath, so it's not like I'm pointing a knife at him.
Sure. He's like 20 years old. He's fairly fresh. He's got some friends around him. They're similarly aged. And he's curious. What?
So I'm gonna shrug off my rucksack and set it in between my feet. Like, okay, first off, I'm gonna need 1 coin. I'm gonna flip it up in the air. I'm going to attempt to grab it with both hands. You tell me which hand it's in.
They look to each other. So we guess which hand it's in, and that's the bet.
Yes. If I win, I get the 5 coins. If you win, you can take my belt knife.
They again look to each other. They seem to be game.
All right. I'll take the coin. I'll flip it up in the air. I'll very quickly mime grabbing it with both hands and let it fall into the rucksack at my feet.
Okay. Let us see.
I'll spend a point on it.
Okay. Actually,
wait, yeah, my dexterity is higher than that.
Yeah. So
okay, I don't need to spend a point.
You got it. And so they look between your hands, and you can tell that they were like pretty sure that they're going to be able to just follow like visually. And they have reached that point of like they were not expecting to not know, and so they randomly guess your left hand.
I open up the left hand; it's empty. Better luck next time, fellas.
The main 20-year-old that you're talking to starts muttering to himself and pulls out like 4 coins and then like gestures to his friends, and one of them pulls out a coin for him and they hand them over to you.
Pleasure doing business. If you ever want to bet again, just let me know.
They it's not quite so bold as to say fuck you, but they like basically country boys that have been given a modicum of guard training that realize that they've just been taken for a spin. So they gesture and then walk away.
Okay. I'm going to just keep the coins on me for now.
Okay.
Does that mean we have 6 coins now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because you yes. Okay. So as you guys are sitting there, the constable for the village shows up to talk to the old man and to talk to you guys. And when he shows up, he gestures to towards the building where the kitchen is, and for them to bring out a little bit more food. He's gonna eat with you guys. And he looks at you guys. So, where are you folks from?
Little town called Haven. It's pretty far off. I doubt you've ever heard of it.
Yeah, no, I can't say it's familiar. My friend here says that you came through the Darkwoods.
There was a lot of interesting fauna in there. Had to check it out and got a little lost, and now we're here. Let me ask you. It seems like that was a big deal for the wonderful driver that picked us up. What goes on around here with the Darkwoods?
He pauses and he looks at the old man, then looks at you guys. He's honestly not sure how to respond to that question. He motions. Would you excuse us for a moment? And he taps the old man's shoulder.
Before you go, where's the bathroom?
He gestures to an outhouse.
Okay. Are there any like torches or wall sconces on the way?
No.
Damn it. Okay. So Gutter Snipe's gonna go to the bathroom, and once he locks himself in there, he's going to take the coin, or one of the coins that he got, and place it above his heart on one of the areas that isn't scarred.
Okay.
And basically hammer it in with the belt or with the end of his knife until it makes a bloody imprint on his chest.
Okay. Let's do a constitution on that. So your default score is 6, and the number to beat is 15.
Want to spend 4 coins, or is it match or be greater than?
Match is good.
Okay. So everybody want to spend 3 coins on this, or
For the ritualistic scarring?
the ritualistic scarring? Is it worth 3 coins?
I mean, not in my view, but it's up to him, man.
That's quite a bit of coins, but at the same time, I want to flip a coin for it, but I don't have a coin on me.
Oh, the irony.
I guess he just figures it's going to take too much noise and stops.
Okay. All right. And the latrine is more or less what you'd expect from one of like 4 outhouses for, a garrison of small-time soldiers and guards. It's a little bit disgusting.
Okay. So I'm going to take a closer look at the coin. One of the coins I didn't deform by trying to bang into my chest, and see the logo up close.
Okay. It is. It's a little abstracted, but what you can tell is that it looks like there's a tree with a skull where the branches go out. And there are some marks on it that you don't recognize. But your best guess is that it's it's a mark of 3. Like rather than being specific, like having specific meaning, that they are just like 1, 2, 3. It's counting.
Okay. He's going to, pocket the coin and come back out.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of counting, I believe we just got a number.
Yes. And anytime I miss that, feel free to remind me.
So if you add 1 to that, that becomes 19, right?
Okay. So, yeah, you guys, by default, at the pavilion, you're being provided food. Gutter Snipe just went to the outhouse. Dalton, your conversation companion has just stepped to the side with the constable, and his daughter is sitting there and is kind of, I want to say, God, she's glowering at you guys. Like it's not overt hostility, but like her muscles are a little bit tenser than they would be if it was just a comfortable hanging out session.
So what's the and I will ask her because the other two are away, and this is a chance to kind of fuck with her a little. What's the symbol here? You got like and I'll point to one of like whatever the closest one is that we can see, because they seem to be all over. What's that there? You got like a tree and a skull, and like the skull where the branches come out, but like, is that like the insignia of the area, or what is that? What's that one for? It's an interesting logo you've got here.
Ooh. So that's a charisma check.
She did not like that.
And your default charisma is 7. Jax is 8. So by default, she's going to be fairly non-responsive.
Sure.
I'd spend 2 coins on that and slide a nice hefty plate of food towards her and be like, "Thank you for feeding me."
Okay, the offer of food disarms her just a little bit. And so, and the fact that you guys are legitimately don't know what's going on seems to be becoming obvious. So she explains that symbol is the mark of the regime. That there was a civil war and they were the winning faction. In part because of their ability to tame the demons.
Oh, you guys have demons over here. All right. And that's what's in the Darkwood then, or the demons that they've tamed?
Okay. Describe for me a little bit more how you guys are talking.
Sweet. So 16, is that 2 or is it 1? I forget.
That is 1.
Okay. I was excited for a moment. Describe what I'm trying to get.
Well, like, how are you going about it? Like, she was kind of hostile, and then Jack offered her some more food in a way that was like,
we don't know what's happening.
It's kind of like innocence that has appealed to her. So she's actually giving you guys information. What's your demeanor? How are you saying these things?
Honestly inquisitive. Like earnestly inquisitive and hopeful that like she might actually give me a straight answer when the other guys are being weird about it. He's not a very charismatic person, so that's about as good as you get from him.
Sure. So she's going to like the information that she gives you guys is prefaced by the bewilderment that you honestly don't know what's going on.
Absolutely not. We're from way far off, and this is entirely new.
The Civil War encompassed the entire continent.
Like I said, Haven,
way
real far away. And just 100% dead earnestness.
She leans in and begins to like level with you guys. The fact that you are legitimately outsiders from far enough away that like you have no clue. So she confides in you that there was a civil war, and her father's faction was on the winning side, and that they won, like I said, because they were able to quote unquote tame the demons. But the thing that's new that she confides in you is that she and her father thought that you guys were escaped sacrifices, and that they didn't really tame the demons. They just bribe them and gain power from them. And that the regime is oppressive, and that if you guys like, unless you escape, you're going to be sacrificed to the demons.
God, I wish I could have a quick huddle.
We're all fairly close, but Gutter Snipe is just kind of listening to this with like nonchalance while maintaining eye contact with the daughter.
And like when we say that you guys are all in close, like she's leaning in to talk to you guys. So if you whisper amongst yourselves, she's gonna hear. So
let me, and I guess I'll ask her. And do you think it's best that do you think this is the best arrangement, sacrificing people to the demons? Is this what you all were looking for when you had your civil war?
she looks to the side and then looks back to you guys. And it's not exactly like I have a choice. It's not exactly like we have a choice. The demons have been in these lands since before we came. Like, if we don't appease them, they'll take out their wrath on us.
What did the previous people do? Because it sounds like they weren't taking out the wrath on the previous people.
It's all a question of who gets sacrificed. The previous the other factions were just as thick into it as we are.
And these demons, are they immortal, or have heroes in the past killed them?
She pauses. Like, the prospect of killing a demon seems completely foreign to her. It's happened in legends, but nobody actually believes it's possible.
In the legends, was it only with a specific item, or was it just a purely blessed hero that did it?
And you can tell at this point that she is not nearly as accustomed to talking to academics as her father
Sure.
is. And so, like, she's not quite sure why you're asking this question.
Sure. Just bear with me for a moment. I'll get around to the point. I just have a couple questions. Don't even worry about it. I was just curious. In the old stories, was it a particular weapon, or was it just a powerful or blessed hero that did it?
Blessed heroes.
Yeah, some sort of champion of some kind.
Yeah. Yeah, but
And-
we haven't seen that sort in a very long time.
And they didn't need to go get a particular thing on their quest. They were just able to take out the demon in the stories.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
The people touched by the
Interesting. And
gods.
how do we know how many demons are currently in the forest?
In the Darkwoods, there's just the one.
And let me ask you this: if someone did remove that demon, I know it sounds silly, but if one of those heroes came out of myth and did smite the demon, what would happen to your dad's faction?
She pauses, and again, it's like there's a degree of abstraction here that
Sure.
she's trying to work her way around. But as she contemplates it, well, they would lose influence. The resistance, the rebels, would probably take over the area.
Interesting. In those old stories, did the demons ever have a weakness?
And she's starting to grasp what you're going for here.
And I will get her a little more drink to add to the food, and
Get wasted so you don't understand. Don't connect the dots yet.
Just as get myself a more drink and get her a little too.
Okay. At this point, she's looking at the three of you and is just flat out saying that they're going to try to sacrifice you. You need to escape.
Good.
When they sacrifice us,
should I do what would be true to my character, or should I go with the plan that's currently in place?
Character.
Jer has had his arms crossed and is kind of leaning back. All of a sudden, he stands up and smacks the table. Constable! She's asking us to slay the demon!
Oh, God.
I'll just look at him horrified.
I'm just going to keep, shovel faster. If I'm going to die...
heretic wishes us to rid this place of the demon, the one that's been protecting us.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to die with the dice
We're
full.
so close to hearing about a damn
3, 6,
weakness.
9, 12.
How much do we need?
15. 5 coins.
You guys might want to save some damn coins for actual combat.
I need 5 coins to live.
It's your call.
Wait. Which one of us has the highest charisma?
None of us.
Jack?
We all suck.
Jack has the highest charisma.
At 8.
11, 14,
17.
17.
I need 4.
So that'd still be 4 coins.
Yep.
I'm going to take the L on it. Let's see how this plays out.
So how many coins do we have?
9.
You have 9.
We have 9. That would put me at 5.
So when you said you're going to take the L, what do you mean, Logan?
We'll see what happens.
Okay, so you're not spending the coins?
No.
Okay, Jack, are you spending the coins?
I'm tempted to just to see what happens. All right. We have one for yes, one for no. What do you say?
He's a tiebreaker, Thundy.
Oh, no. Let's save the coins. That's
Uh,
that's going to be more interesting, anyways. And
I had a backup plan that required at least 6 coins anyway.
okay.
Oh,
Dalton is
God.
just aghast. Just how dare he do this right before we could find out if there were weaknesses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so we start pounding on the table, yelling for the constable, saying that the daughter is trying to convince you guys to slay the demon, and and you're doing the spiel about how the demons like protected everybody, and how horrendous the suggestion that this heretic is proposing, and you obviously get the attention of the constable and the old man and the guards. And the constable who was talking to the old man looks at you guys from across the road and yells at the guards to surround you and take you into custody, um, referring to the three of you. He does not believe that the daughter of one of the former generals would be a heretic.
No, I go with the lighter color
We're getting arrested, and I'm like, we should have spent the coin.
So there's now about 15 guards that are drawing swords and surrounding you guys.
so that wagon,
Mhm.
is it? Are they continuing? Is it set up for driving still? Are they set up to continue on their journey, or did they take the horse and put it away somewhere?
They were preparing to stay the night.
Okay, and uh, how are the horses situated near us? Are there any that could feasibly be stolen in a very quick fashion?
Relatively,
Cool.
yeah.
So I will go ahead and attempt to make my way through the guards and jump on one and see about using magic as I need to based on how the guards react.
Okay. So dexterity. Yeah, you're gonna be able to like they're starting to gather around you, and you're gonna be able to basically get the initiative and just run through them to get to the horses. Jack and Gutter Snipe are still in the crowd, though.
Gutter Snipe's laughing. This
Okay.
entire time, and you didn't recognize me. You've been offering me this to eat. I eat something else. I'm going to use 6 coins and go Blade Beast. And I'm going to use this for basically an intimidation check.
Well, the good news is we just gained 2 coins, so
Yeah, true.
it'll.
Thank you. Like I said, I sometimes overlook that.
Oh, you're fine. You've got a lot to think about.
Yeah. Okay. So, and Jack, what's your plan? You've got Gutter Snipe standing there, like getting ready, like he's about to go into pure like beast mode. Like his body is going to erupt into weapons, and he like somewhere between the Hulk and Wolverine, where Wolverine's blades are on steroids. Um,
Nope.
Nope.
I think.
Oh,
No?
Yeah,
There we go.
Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna take like a chicken wing off my plate, chuck the plate at a guard, eat it, and I'm just gonna chase after Dalton.
Okay.
I'm gonna slip on mashed potatoes.
Okay, you're okay with taking the loss there?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean,
yeah,
it only costs you one, because you're at 8, right, for your dex,
Yeah.
and that
It'd be
was
2 coins.
what it.
2 coins.
Okay, because each coin is 3. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll take the elf. I'll be the immortal that just takes it.
Okay. All right. So it's been established before. This is the first mission that Guttersnipe has gone on, and he's always been very cautious about going out on these missions. Which I presume, and correct me if I'm wrong, Guttersnipe, that means that neither Jack nor Dalton has likely seen you go into Blade Beast mode.
Probably not, because
Yeah,
he's never
no.
done it in Haven.
Yeah. So go ahead and describe what this Blade Beast looks like.
So
Like a
basically what happens is he kind of suddenly coughs and blood shoots out of his mouth, and he smiles, and you can see that his teeth basically fall out and are started to being replaced with the tips of daggers.
Ugh.
And his bones snap, and his arms elongate, and you can see that the left arm is made of a cracked in half pole arm, and the other one is a battle axe and part of a halberd, and his entire body elongates, and weapons kind of shove themselves out, and the muscles reform roughly around them. So it's basically a skeleton made of weapons wrapped in the muscles that was Guttersnipe.
That's terrifying.
Sounds so painful.
It is. This is how he summons weapons.
Yeah, that part where everything erupts and the muscles intertwined among the blades,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real bad. There's also a reason he's covered in scars.
Mm.
It
Okay.
all makes sense now.
And you said that you're using this as an intimidation?
At first, yes, and then after that, I'm going to go, if that doesn't work, I'm going to go combat.
He's just gonna go murder everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
need to put-
well, that's the intimidation check.
It works.
And for that's for the soldiers around you. And so just not even the end result of the transformation, the process of the transformation. There are a couple that just outright vomit. Some of them drop their swords. Almost all of them take a few steps back. One of them outright trips and falls backwards. Just they are completely aghast at this sorceress transformation. Now for the general.
Don't care.
See, and okay.
Wait, do I get advantage on these for being in Blade Beast or
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
attacks? Okay.
So
that's not necessarily an attack, but
he's easier to scare now than he would be. The way that I'm going to interpret this particular role is the difference between him being completely shocked and overwhelmed versus, oh shit, it's been 20 years since I've seen anything like this.
Okay.
Do you want to spend a coin to bump it over the edge?
No, but I will make an attack on the daughter.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
Okay. And she is completely shocked. So this is going to be an easy roll with I say easy. Yeah, no, you got it. It's like the most difficult version of an easy roll you could possibly get. But yeah, you got it, and that is
And basically, when he swings the battle axe hand, quote unquote, down on her, you hear this kind of grinding voice scream out, "Heretic!"
Huh.
Is there no way I can save the daughter? She fed me.
Right.
She fed us.
okay. So the charisma check there is an 11.
I have a 5.
2 coins will do it.
I do get 1 coin for the 16, right? That I rolled
Rolled
to
last
attack
turn?
her.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'll use 2 coins to push it over the edge because this is kind of me going all in.
Yeah. Okay. And just for clarification, I assume that when you're in Blade Beast mode and you attack somebody who is too startled to defend themselves, that it's a fairly serious wound.
Yes, that would be saying it lightly. Like, it's basically taking all of Gutter Snipe's willpower to even say that one word without just not having any English come out.
Okay. So to get to your question, Jack, by default, she's dead. Just, that having been said, it is entirely within the realm of possibility that in a previous incarnation you were a divine healer.
I'll spend the 3 coins on that.
Okay. And so let's see if you get any coins for evoking. No. So it's going to be the. And so you're going to try to like, what kind of healing do you want to do on her? Because it has to be magical in nature. Do you just like lay on hands or?
What's not the strongest healing, but like mid-tier.
Okay. Well,
type thing.
like what does it look like when you're doing the thing? Like, do you say a prayer? Do you like if we're watching a movie, because you're going to be able to keep her from completely dying here. What in the movie? What is your character doing?
I'm accelerating her, like, you know how people just naturally heal? I'm accelerating that.
Okay. All right. So if the camera were moving across her wounds, they would be closing in on each other.
Yes.
Like the sides would be being brought together.
Mm.
And it's gonna be like some serious fucking scar tissue. But so yeah, while Blade Beast Gutter Snipe is
going to town,
crashed through her and making this overwhelming intimidation, she falls to the side, and you are like, we previously described like you had like tripped on the mashed potatoes. So you were able to like crawl over to her without Gutter Snipe seeing what's going on and like lay on hands, and the healing comes together. Dalton, you're at the horses when you hear this unearthly scraping noise and this eruption of violence.
The best way I can describe like the word he said is, imagine somebody auto-tuned the word heretic, but they use the sound of sharpening a knife.
It's very evocative. He will go ahead and take the reins.
Okay.
And like circle the horse towards the road, but stay close enough to where he's watching everything, and will start to move his pack around so that he can pull the crossbow off if he needs it.
Okay. Yeah, and this is the first time that you've seen Gutter Snipe do this, so there's...
Yeah, he doesn't think he's going to need it for the guards. Like, he's got nothing against a dude made of blades. It just casually turned into a blade monster demon in front of him.
Okay. So that...
Question.
Yes.
Aren't we down 3?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to...
I wasn't going to say anything. I actually completely forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically we'd be at 1, sadly. So it was 6 for 16, and then he took 2 off, and then the other one took 3 off. So we are very low on him.
It's okay. If I fail this next will check, I'm going to be getting a lot of combat rolls.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. Seeing his daughter cut down with barely any thought, and the unearthly way in which you said heretic, they, when you were still in human form, they were, debating and dismissing the weight of what you said based on whether or not it was true. Whereas now they're debating the merits of what you say on the basis of oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. So yeah, the old man and the constable are both freak the fuck out and start backing away. They, as near as you can tell, they believe that you are, if not a demon, you are a demon spawn. You are something completely unnatural. This should not be happening. They're all gonna fucking die.
I'm going to have to make a will check.
Okay.
And
I
not
will
kill
let you
everyone?
determine
Oh, dear
the
God.
difficulty.
Is this wisdom?
It's either wisdom or intelligence.
Okay. Do you want it to be easy, moderate, or difficult?
It would probably at least be moderate.
Okay.
Okay, I start attacking everyone.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so this meticulously thought out plan of using your powers to convince them that she actually was a heretic.
This can still work. This can still instill the fear of God into them.
Yeah, but it was a real dumb plan to begin with.
Okay. So first round. Yeah.
I don't think I need the advantage, but if you want to go ahead and roll the advantage, feel free.
Well, no, in this case, the advantage is that it's an easy task.
Oh, okay. See, when I read advantage, I was thinking 5e.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
18. Sweet, we get 2 back.
Yeah.
Woo!
I've got a question.
Yes.
How much, when he goes into Blade Beast mode, how much control does he have in that form?
Right now, none. I failed the will check.
So I'm a target, am I not?
If you stay in the kill zone, yes.
It's normally targeted towards people who are the most threats first. Like the
And the person
beast,
cowering in their mashed potatoes is not.
But I'm currently healing somebody that he slashed right next to him.
If you had a sword at your side or something like that, like this thing, while also being made of weapons, is also connected to the bladed shore. So it kind of identifies weapons and armor and other tools of war, and that's kind of what it's attracted to.
Not me killing the daughter.
No,
okay,
not
cool.
currently.
Oh, me. I got time.
Okay, so yeah, Gutter Snipe, you're able to carve through the first 2 soldiers with, like, they don't even resist. If you want to add detail to that, you can.
It won't add terribly much, except one of them is the guy who kind of snuffed me for stealing his coin.
The 20-year-old kid, the country bumpkin that was given a sword and
Maybe he shouldn't have got caught up with sacrificing people to demons. You're not going to make me feel bad over this.
Okay, fair. Round 2.
Yay, more coins.
Yeah,
See, we're working it back up.
it's doing the grind. Okay, so on round 2 of combat, you're still like mowing through the soldiers. While this is going on, first, Dalton, when we last left, you were on the outside, or you were like near escape. And you had a crossbow out. Are you still just kind of like holding tight?
Yeah, and I will. The only thing I will do, other than, be shocked and horrified, is go ahead and put a bolt into the crossbow and yell out to say, "Jack, there's more horses." That's it. That's all I'll do at this point.
Okay, and Jack, what you and I never gave her a name, did I?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go with Claire.
How's Claire doing?
Clara.
Claire.
She is by default she is still passed out, but you can shake her awake and she'll be groggy, but she'll be almost there.
Awesome. I'm gonna shake her and be like, "Guess what? You died. Time to go."
Okay. So it's
Yeah, I know. Dying sucks. Get over it.
Been there, done that several times. So it's fun.
Guess what? You died. We're heroes. Time to go.
Yeah, that's going to be a real easy sell.
Right?
I'm gonna yell as we're running towards the door. I'm gonna yell to her dad, "We're square now."
as he gets cut down. Okay, so are you taking Clara, like, if you're moving towards the horses, are you taking Clara with you?
Yeah.
Okay. And she is groggy enough. She's very open to suggestion. You say follow, she's following. Which takes us back to the Blade Beast.
Huh.
Yep.
Funny story. It still doesn't matter.
Pretty much. Yeah. So you cut through another couple of guards. They're starting to they're starting to get to that point of almost putting up resistance. Like, the ones that are there have had enough time to process to think that maybe they should, like, take a step back and put their sword between you and them. But it's, God, I said that there are 15 or 20 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You have now gone through 8 of those.
So I will spend 2 coins to summon a great sword.
God.
Jesus. It's not enough that your entire body is made of weapons.
Like, they literally have to roll perfect to have it, and you have to roll a 1. Like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like,
I've got a question.
Yes.
Am I and the girl out of the building already?
It's the pavilion, so it's the walls are open.
Okay. I just want to know if I'm within range of his swing.
it's not a swing. It's basically a ballista launch from his chest.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, when you say that you're summoning a sword, you're not saying I'm pulling it out and I'm holding it. You are
like reeling back, like T-pose, and then a sword shoots from his chest.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. But yeah, to answer your question, Jack, you are now with Dalton. You, Dalton, and Clara, and the horses are within like you tell the horses to run, and you are out of there.
So I'm slightly curious. How does he recover from being the Blade Beast? Is it like a bad hangover, or is it like body aches?
Basically, he has slightly faster than normal regeneration, but like when this all ends, the blades kind of fall out, and like his body is kind of like Attack on Titan style stuck inside, and basically he falls out bleeding from wherever the blades came out until he either heals up enough or somebody like drags him off. It's basically an all or nothing.
Gotcha.
Okay. So actually, with your strength and dex of 11, with this attack, they got double sixes on their challenge.
So one of them hits you. Woo! It happens.
Well, this is to see how the sword that he's shooting out. And who are you
gotcha.
shooting at?
It would probably be whoever the Blade Beast thought was the greatest threat. So whoever was fighting back the most.
Okay. I will say that the lieutenant is the closest to being able to fight back in any meaningful way. The constable and the old man are still holding back a little bit. Your default of 11 is not going to be enough to kill the lieutenant in one go, but he is grievously wounded.
I'm not going to spend a coin on it.
Okay. Yeah. And you are able to casually mow through a couple more guards. It is turning into an absolute bloodbath. And at this point, the old man and the constable have dropped to their knees in a kind of like worship.
I will make another will check.
What's the difficulty? You're in mid frenzy.
This one would probably be medium to hard.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, let me see if I can do that manually. Because moderate is 4 dice, hard is 6 dice, so 5 dice.
5. I don't stop yet. Then again, no one has asked me to stop or anything. They're just kind of silently.
Yeah. So
Gutter Snipes, stop. We need to go.
I'm going to use, I'm going to let everyone else go, but my next couple actions are going to be with will checks to try and stop again.
Okay. So what's Dalton and Jack doing in response to this? Still just holding.
I'm gonna
try not to vomit.
I'm gonna tell Claire to go. I've probably seen something like this in like the 10,000 years I've been alive. So I'm like, he'll walk it off, but I'm like, hey, calm down. We gotta go.
Okay. The slaughter continues.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it does because your natural is still going to beat it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're the bottom of your effort on this is an 11, and they're pulling the 7. So, now, Will.
Another point. Which is good because we need them.
So on that one, actually, let me roll one more die. If it is a 5 or 6. Okay. Your will check is 1 point below what would allow you to stop.
Guys, should I burn the coin?
Burn the coin.
I'll burn the coin to stop.
Okay. So as you are massacring this fortification, there's like 5 of them left, including the old man and the constable, who have basically pissed themselves and are completely like face down on the in what's the word? Supplicating. And only then are you able to pull yourself back enough to not do the killing blow. So what happens next?
So basically, he rears up and roars, and the chest kind of opens up, and he falls out, and the rest of the blades kind of fall away. And he is very grievously wounded and like barely conscious, and kind of has like a faraway look in his eyes. But he like leans up enough to look at them and says, "Tell them the demons no longer want your sacrifices." Passes out. Damn it.
Yeah, but we have 2 coins left, and that's a damn good use of the coins.
Yeah, that would be the 2 coins would be enough to push it over.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
That's a different way than I thought about going about this, but sure, fuck it.
Okay. So yeah, with your last breath before you pass out from sheer exhaustion from this massacre, you're able to get out that admonishment and that command. And the constable and the old man, who I previously specified was a general in the faction that won the Civil War, who have now seen this terrible, I mean that in every sense of the word, terrible display of power, and have now been given a commandment that the demons no longer want the sacrifices. They are sold. They're utterly convinced, and left to their own devices, they will, like the massacre of this fortification, news about it will pass, and will, like, from this snapshot, you're not sure what will happen next, but this region at least has pivoted a little bit in response to what happened, and this day is going to confuse the scholars, because the demons that they encounter are different. Like, this is weird, but like, things that have happened today are going to make them question what's going on, and there's going to be a renewed debate, and not everybody's going to buy into it, but yeah, the sheer terror of this is going to shock some people into changing what they do.
Well, in the meantime, Jack, you should probably heal him.
No, I'm just going to grab him by his foot and be like, all right, thanks for coming. Drag him to the horse.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are all at the horses. The admonishment has been given, basically, and the goal was to end around 10 o'clock. So, and that's a climactic moment that, acts as a pivot. So the question now, normally you spend coins to dictate like special terms for how this ends, but you guys basically have control of the situation at the moment. So how do you want this scenario to end in terms of like, you're not going to be able to control the big picture stuff, but in terms of like, do you ride off and when you go to sleep, you go back to Haven, like those kinds of details.
I think we should stay and take care of the demon, because just because we said the demon doesn't want any more sacrifices doesn't mean that it's not going to come back here and be like,
Somehow, at the very end of your statement, at the climax, your microphone turned off.
can you still hear me?
Yep, now I can.
Okay, cool. We should stay, fight the demon, because even though the people aren't giving sacrifices anymore, we should still, there's nothing stopping the demon from.
Okay. The audio was still going on and off, but we got the gist of it.
Nope.
Nope.
You're going to have to keep speaking while you adjust things, or else we won't know whether or not. Nope. Can't hear anything yet. Oh, maybe. Say something. Nope.
Oh.
Nothing.
Nothing?
There
Oh,
we go.
there you go.
There we go. That's the magic moment.
Awesome. So, still good?
Yep.
Yeah.
We should fight the demon.
I agree that in the long term, that's probably the best solution, but I don't know if we have the time and stuff to actually like fight the demon and win at this moment.
True.
Yeah. And basically, like the difference between ending the session with a lot of coins and ending the session with few coins, like you can say that you're going to stay to try to stop the demon, and I'll narrate what happens as a result of that. If you had a bunch of coins, then you could spend those coins to dictate the terms.
Fight the demon.
Um,
I would. The one thing I'd like to do is to convince the daughter that once she's like awake and around and has seen it and died from the thing, that hey, rather than like that the this particular regime is wrong, and that sacrificing to the demons is a terrible thing. Instead of sacrificing to them, the correct thing would be to unite humanity against them and go ahead and be the heroes yourselves and purge them from the plane.
okay.
So that's my route.
Okay. Awesome. And like, she's been reborn. So, and you guys have done amazing things, amazing and terrible things. Both hallmarks of, a religious conversion.
Yep.
Whenever
Be an easy sell.
Whenever Jer regains enough consciousness to speak, he's going to look at the other two and say, breathe a word of this to anyone else and you'll be on my shit list.
And what, you'll kill yourself at us?
Passes back out.
It says like, I'm an immortal and I don't know what Dalton, like, pretty sure that you can dissect him or something before he does anything.
He could probably kill me, but I'm going to ruin his day in the meantime. That's kind of how that goes. Like, he'll probably kill me, but I'm going to make his testicles drag on the floor in the meantime. Like, shit's going to go wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Gutter Snipe's end scene here is basically threatening you guys. Dalton's end scene here is communicating this philosophical argument for what should happen next to Clara, who is a receptive and willing recipient of this information and this philosophy.
And the daughter of a legend and a man in power.
Right, yes. So, who he himself has every reason to also buy in.
Right.
So that's a fairly easy sell. Which takes us to Jack. You said that you want to stay and kill the demon. You have the option of basically saying, okay, my character is going to go off to kill the demon, and possibly you could take the other party members with you. There's 0 coins in play, so it's not going to happen, but you can attempt it.
I'm going to agree with Dalton's plan and say, all right, guys, this is your world. This is your place. You guys need to write your own story and fight your own battles and not wait for some legendary guy to come.
Yeah, it would be too much of us to go and directly interfere.
Not too much for us to murder them all.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, that's the transition back to Haven. Takes all sorts of different forms. It can be as quick as you walk through a doorway and suddenly on the other side of the doorway you're back in Haven. It can be as slow as you fall asleep and when you wake up you're back in Haven. It varies. But we will go ahead and say that I'll give you guys a couple options. One is after telling Clara this, you just start to dissolve into the air and go back to your home plane. Another option is that you take the horses and you go over the ridge, or some variation on that. Which way do you guys want to go?
I'd like to take the horses so I can then sell the horses. Like, take them with me back to Haven.
Okay. And
gear and stuff attached.
There are limits on it. Like, in theory, the like anything that you carry usually goes back with you. I will allow a loophole for a horse.
Sure.
But I am specifying it's a loophole because if you guys like hop on a wagon, I'm not saying the wagon's gonna go with you.
Just like rob a bank, put it all in the wagon, take the wagon with us. Yeah, I could see where that would be problematic.
I'm gonna run back to the father real quick and take his ritual dagger.
Okay.
Yoink!
So we're totally prophets, and we just started religion. But hold on a moment.
Yeah, I'm friends with him, Steak.
Well, okay. Let's roll it back. Like you've given the message to Clara. Jack is the healer who healed Clara, so it's very easy to imagine a relatively dramatic scenario where Guttersnipe and Dalton are waiting with the horses to ride off into the sunset, and Jack walks Clara back and says a few final words to the old man, and asks for the ritual dagger at that point, and then joins you, and you guys ride off.
That makes more sense.
Those words were "shit's crazy," right? I mean, like, dude.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be the end of that session. You guys go back to Haven, and we're not going to role play through this, but the standard stuff is that the scribes are going to ask you, what happened, and the Smiths. The scribes' family name are the Scratches, and the Smiths are, traders and creators of arms and armor. So they'll offer you money for anything. What's the goal with the dagger? Are you wanting to do anything specific with it, or just hold on to it for now?
I'll just hold on to it.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you guys withhold from the scribes?
I'd like to keep one of the leaves for study.
Okay. That's easily doable.
I withhold all the information about how we accomplished our task.
We walked into a bar. They all dropped on the floor, all bloodied. The end.
I don't know what happened, sir. They just started bleeding and falling.
Must have been a plague. Yeah.
Guttersnipe will turn in the knife that he summoned himself for money, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. Do Dalton and or Jack tell a full story of what Guttersnipe did?
Is this done separately or as a group?
A little bit of both.
Just that the only thing that he'll say different or otherwise was just that Jack is pretty good with those blades. Or not, sorry, not Jack. Whoever, gutter snipe, like gutter snipe, pretty good with the blades, and that's
He can
about
throw
as
a
far
great
as he
sword.
gets.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna totally throw Jack under the bus.
I just mixed up the names for a moment. In
I
my
was like-
head, for some reason, when I think of the name Jack, somebody who stabs people seems right up that alley. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a Jack the Ripper connotation, but just people cutting with blades. Oh, it's obviously Jack. I don't know.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm just over here messing with my knife, going what?
Right.
Okay.
The gutter snipe. All right. When I think gutter snipe, I think of the magic card. So
I actually got it from a metal song.
sure.
Nice.
All